Not used to this. It's still daylight out. I'm like, what's happening? It's usually nighttime when we do this. Ben's usually in his pajamas.
Well, I'm in my pajamas from the waist down.
Which is nothing.
No, I have pajamas on.
Oh, you're not a in the buff sleeper, Ben?
Oh, no, I sleep that way, but this chair would be uncomfortable in the nude.
I see. You start off with pajama bottoms and then in the nighttime you kick them off or something?
No, I kick them off before I lay down.
I love Sleeping Stefan because Sleeping Stefan does things that I'm not aware of. Like the one night I was like freezing, and so I never sleep with socks on, and I started with socks on, and in the morning the socks were by my hamper, and I was like, oh, Sleeping Stefan knows to take them off and put them by the hamper. I'm like, he's so thrifty.
That's so Gemini.
You're just jealous because it can't be me.
Right. Well, now that we're all here, we're all of our audio's working. Are we ready? Can we be brave? Are we ready? Can we be brave?
Do you want some more?
I'm ready. Is everybody else ready? That's the real question.
Can you give it to me? Baby, step to the beat. I'm down on my knees. Madonna is unstoppable.
You're listening to MLVC, the Madonna podcast, your place for all things Madonna, Louise, Veronica, Ciccone. How's everybody doing tonight?
Giving it up for Detroit.
It's no place like home.
That's right.
Well,
hey, everybody.
that was Liberty that you just heard.
Oh, that was okay.
I
thought you were going to name drop yourself, but you're just like, no, incognito tonight.
I don't need a name, baby. They know me. They know me by now.
Wonderful. And I'm high on cold medicine. It's Ben.
Oh, no. Now your sound's out, Jason.
Oh, no.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay, there we go.
Sorry. And I'm Jason, and the Virgin tours my Roman Empire. Am I cutting in and out?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. Boy, we're just flogged with technical difficulties today. This is like the Blind Ambition tour.
It's like somebody rushed the stage. And we just kept going.
Yeah, it's better when you press on them, Jason. Yeah, okay. Touch it. Yeah, touch it.
Touch it. Okay.
Touch yourself periodically throughout the show, Jason. I'm sure that'll be perfect. And hey, everybody, it's Stefan. Welcome to another episode of MLVC. I went to New York. I had a dream. I wanted to be a big star. I didn't know anybody. I'm not going to do the whole thing. I love that was sort of like our first like preview of Nikki Finn. It was like early stages of Nikki Finn for that. If you haven't already guessed, everybody, tonight's topic is the Virgin Tour. We are celebrating 40 years since Madonna went on the road for the very first time. Launched on April 10th, 1985. It was in support of Madonna's self-titled album, Madonna, and her Like a Virgin album. And we are going to talk all about it, the music, the clothes, the dancing, you name it. We're going to cover it. But first, let's check in with what Madonna has been up to, shall we?
You know she'll take you there. Nobody ever knows what key I'm going to sing that.
That's right. Don't just stand there. Let's get to it. It's time for a little... This Week in Ciccone.
See, I get what I want.
First big thing, and I feel like we've been here before, but Madonna and Elton John apparently have buried the hatchet and ended their years-long feud. But my question is, didn't they bury this hatchet already? I felt like the hatchet had been buried.
Yeah, I felt like I remembered that too, or at least, that Elton continued to be on Madonna's Christmas card list. And so I just kind of thought that, she moved on, or at least never bothered to address it publicly, with extreme, because she never really does that, she doesn't really bother with people saying things about her. So yeah, I thought, it was almost broke the internet that day.
I felt like Elton needed some press for his album that just came out. Mm-hmm. That's what it was.
The question
Yeah.
is, was this a PR thing? Because I thought Elton John said that they were in Europe at the same time a while ago, and they were at the same restaurant, and Madonna picked up the tab. So I didn't feel like this was news. However, I did feel like it was a bit out of character for her to say that she was going to go down to SNL to confront him. That was an odd choice. Anyways, listen, I hope it's accurate and that we all need to come together anyways in these times. So I think people were sort of inspired by it. So maybe that's a positive, but
Yeah.
it was a bit odd for the true Madonna fans who know that this might not be news.
Yeah, there was something slightly choreographed about the whole thing where it was like, I'm going down this. I heard he was going to be on Saturday Night Live. I'm going down there to confront him. And then suddenly they're confronting each other with a posed picture. And I think the biggest news to come of that was Elton's comment in her post, which was, I've written a song for you, or that was in her post or something. I'm curious if this is all building up to the eventual, like, is there an album of collaborations coming? Like, is the music with her and Stewart like a 2-part album? Her, Stewart, like Confessions on a Dance Floor Part 2, and then there's like the second album is like collaborations with Madonna, and it's like Katy Perry and Arca and Elton John and Kylie Minogue, and like I don't know what did we think of what was that? I felt like that was like very specifically put there.
It's late, right? Because Elton already had this sort of album of songs with other divas. And so I thought, in fact, I kind of thought she was noticeably absent from that. I really kind of would have liked that then. I don't know. It definitely seemed, choreographed. It was kind of like, by the way, there's going to be a collaboration. But there was something else I had seen. Somebody posted that also hinted at one of them had said something recently about it. So, I mean, I'm excited. That to me is a collaboration I'm excited to see personally.
I think the interesting thing here is this PR that Madonna's doing right now, because she had that video come out when she was on the street at the what's the name of the designer that she went to?
The
And
Willie
they did that
Chamaria, yeah.
Thanks, right. And it was like this. I mean, listen, if that's the direction that her PR is going in, I think it's actually great because that is how people are receiving, celebrities and influencers. So I actually really like that video. And if this was just another way to gather more kind of momentum behind her right now, I think that's great. Maybe it's leading up to an album. Maybe there is a duet. Maybe there isn't. But either way, it's still getting that attention that she wasn't really getting, I think, recently. So I think it's a cool shift in her PR if that's what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess so we're in agreement it was just PR. Like when I read it, when I saw her Instagram post, I was like, wait, did I misremember an entire decade that this was not a thing and now it suddenly is a thing again? Like I was like, oh, the cold medicine's got me real bad. Like, yeah, I don't
I I welcome collaborations with Madonna if they're with the right people and if they're going to be the right sound for her. I think her and Elton would be very radio friendly. So I think it'd be a smart move for her for adult contemporary radio. People play Elton John. They don't play Madonna for the most part. I mean, they do play Madonna. It's just vintage Madonna, like what we're going to talk about tonight. Like you'll still hear, I always say it, and I will beat this dead horse until I stop doing this podcast, but you will hear Angel walking down the grocery store in the frozen food section all the time. But I think that would be great for Elton John. Like they played that Elton John and Britney Spears song to death. That Elton John and Dua Lipa song was played over and over and over again. He gets airplay, and I think current Madonna does not. And I think that would be a great move for her. Jason, I agree. I think the PR, they're knocking it out of the park with her lately because it's constant. It's a machine. You can see the flow of how she's releasing posts. And yes, we do recognize that we are broadcasting on a Sunday night and that she's probably most likely going to pop something out on the Instagrams tomorrow. And so we'll have to do another episode.
And she did 2 last week.
2. I was like, oh. She heard us. She knows that we know because we're always calling her out for doing a Monday post. And she did a Monday and a Thursday post instead of just one post.
Listeners, when I tell you the group that caught fire with that second one, let me tell you, Stefan was so excited.
So, other than the fact that she was on the same Amtrak train to New Haven, Connecticut that I had been on nary a week before,
Oh my
I was like,
gosh.
Madonna, you couldn't have picked the same weekend I was going to New Haven, Connecticut. Like, what the odds of me like bumping into Madonna in New Haven, like that would, oh, hey. But yes, Madonna took the Amtrak train to New Haven, Connecticut to check out Tracy Emin's exhibition at the British Museum at Yale. Madonna's outfit was amazing. Can we all just talk
Oh
about
my
how
God. It was
she's like
everything.
Benjamin Buttoning. I don't like
Oh,
red, that black jacket, those gloves that Jason's
the
got on. Oh my
shoes.
God, everything was so I do not ride Amtrak in quite the same fashion. I am let's just say I don't
Yeah,
dress for the train.
that was I'm dressed up going to Yale. I dug it. Although I was dubious because I was like, wait a second. I've ridden that many times as we go up to New Haven to visit the Booz family, and I'm like, I have never been on that train at any time of day when there's been that many empty seats in your own personal proximity. I was like, did they take that photo shoot like after it stopped or before it took off and they got there early? I was like, there's no way.
I bet you she buys seats around her.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll tell you something. I had an experience one time in London where
Interesting.
I took a. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Sorry. I took a train from Paris to London, and it was the conductor. Like, sorry, not the conductor, but the guy who was taking the tickets. Kind of like it was like every so often people would go to different trains. Like he was pushing people over, and by the end of the ride, we realized that Victoria Beckham was on our train. So I think they also probably don't want people on the same train as Madonna, and I'm sure it was probably
Interesting.
a quiet train ride. But
Well,
yeah, it's
they
pretty
had
interesting.
they
that she
had
did
the
that.
business class on that train. I've never been in business class because I can't afford
Yeah, they
business
do.
class.
Yeah. She
And
looked like
then
she was sitting in regular though.
no, I think the business class had the because Ricardo had posted the picture of him and there were like the little furled curtains. Coach class does not even get
Yeah,
curtains
coach
on
doesn't
there.
have the
Like
curtains,
we
but
don't
she was in a
get
coach.
curtains in coach.
She was in a coach seat in the one photo.
Was
I was
she?
like,
I know. I
oh,
thought it was.
yeah,
I thought.
that just looked like the regular people's photos.
Well, who knows? Maybe they were walking through
Yeah.
the train to like the
But
cafe
she's like,
car
everyone's
at a
gone.
certain
Take my
point.
picture.
Yeah.
She doesn't care.
But yeah, she looked great. I thought she looked amazing and she looked happy. And who knew she loved riding a train so much?
Well, it's just nice to kind of see like there are things she can do, or maybe she's trying to do this purposefully to sort of go back to a time when she lived as a semi-regular person, which I think is healthy for people to do if they're at that status. I don't know how you do it, but
Well,
and
if
it's
she
not
wants,
exactly the same. But
if she wants to relive her old school New York days, I need her on the M11 bus coming down 9th Avenue, like that. Get her on the MTA. That's what we need.
I remember when she was filming or directing WE. Was it WE? And she was on the train. How cool is that? Imagine being on the subway and she's on that. I also thought it was interesting that it took. So there's two things that I noticed about that post. Also, she did play Angel as the music in that post.
Yes.
So that's a nod. That was a nod because it was I think it was the same day as the Virgin Tour launched. It was the 40th anniversary of Angel as well. And also, like, how cool must this Tracy Emin be in order to have Madonna take a train to Connecticut to see her? So I mean, her stuff seems interesting. I don't know. Are you familiar with it? She's like a feminist icon, artist, and I think it's very similar to the type of work or the type of stuff that Madonna would like.
yeah.
There was a post that I can't remember exactly what it wrote, but it was pretty. She's very much about her own sexuality and being a woman and her life's work. So pretty cool artwork that she does, and to have Madonna go there is good support.
Hells yeah.
Mhm.
Enough about current Madonna. We'll devote full episodes to current Madonna when she gives us some new material. Because let me just say, it was Record Store Day just yesterday, and I was like, "Where is the bedtime story?" I'm like,
Noticeably gone.
"We are on like
It's home
day
asleep.
3,555 of not receiving the GD bedtime story offering or whatever." It's like Madonna's team, come on, throw us a bone. Waiting.
Yeah. This is rough. Like I really, it makes you wonder, like, was that all just a fuzzy dream or, is there like anything happening
No,
with
it's
that?
coming.
Or,
It's coming. It's coming. You know it's coming.
I just
Stop it.
really thought for Record Store Day it would have been the thing.
Aren't there?
Because
There's multiple record store days, right?
there's one in the spring and one in the fall, I think. I don't know if there's one in the summer. Probably somebody in the chat can say, but I know for sure there's at least two. But that's like, we don't want to wait an entire year from the original time when she said that it like something special was coming over us.
Yeah. Well,
You know,
well, prepare yourself.
patience is a virtue. Yes, I know.
Well, before we dive into talking about the Virgin Tour, I want to say thank you, everyone, for stepping up our Virgin Tour looks today. So I've got on my, as close as I can to a Virgin Tour look with a borderline and my celebration rosary. And tell us about your t-shirt, Jason.
I mean, Virgin Tour is my Roman Empire. I'm like obsessed with it. I don't know. It's been 40 years, but I've been listening to it ever since. And this is authentic merch from the tour. I didn't go. I purchased it off of a collector who sells some great quality shit, and it's in good condition. I mean,
I was going to say
who
it
would
looks
have thought?
flawless.
Yeah, no, they kept it in really good condition. It cost me a fortune, but I'm happy to have it. And there's only one thing I don't have is the tour book, but I'm kind of saving that for something special for later. You know what I mean? Like you don't want all the stuff in your collection. You want to kind of wait, even if it's going to go up in value. But yeah, this is
It's
original
the
shit. Actually,
journey.
it's totally the journey.
Yeah.
And yeah, I have so much stuff from the Virgin Tour collectible stuff. I don't know. If you're a vinyl collector, there was an over and over 12-inch and 7-inch that was released in Italy. Do you know about this? And it's literally the covers from the Virgin Tour. You should look it up. I was gonna bring it, and I'm sorry I didn't bring it. I was running behind, but it's super cool. I even like the Dress You Up 12-inch in Europe is a different cover. So a lot of the Virgin Tour for the graphics.
And Liberty, thank you for your updo. You're
Yeah,
very
that's
Virgin
the
Tour.
extent.
You're
And
very
the
Virgin
eyeliner.
Virgin Tour appropriate. And Ben's wearing his gambler sunglasses.
I love that look with the cutout. I thought about cutting a cutout, and I was like, I don't want to ruin this shirt, so I'm just gonna rock the sunglasses and my messy hair.
We'll just pretend.
Just pretend.
Yeah.
Pretend there's a little cross between my tatas. Call it the secret garden.
So Jason had lovingly proposed when we said we were going to do this episode. Jason gave us an itinerary before I just sort of slightly organized it a little bit, but we're going to, set list, choreography, set design, the musicians, the outfits, the cultural appeal, the tour film that we got. Let's dive in on the set list. Obviously the songs are made up of the only two albums Madonna had at the time, which is kind of bizarre to think that like that little bit amount of Madonna music existed. I've said it many times before. I was too young to attend this show. I don't even think I knew who Madonna was at the time. When I got to see the tour film at a girl in grade school, it was her fifth grade birthday party, and that was our entertainment, the Virgin Tour film. And it was love at first sight as Madonna descended down those stairs to sing Dress You Up. And I've never looked back since then. But I gotta say, as a tour opener, Dress You Up was just like perfect. Mm-hmm. It's perfect. We're probably gonna go all over the place with this, and it's fine. We could jump. But one thing I noticed in rewatching the tour was, did you notice the screens that went up when she comes in? And I was like, oh my God, was her Celebration Tour screens a silent nod to the Virgin Tour screens? Like I had never thought of that while watching Celebration Tour, but rewatching it on Friday night and watching the screens go up, I'm like, oh, that's just like Celebration. And I wondered if she was like really paying homage, or if she was just like, she didn't even realize.
Yeah, I mean, it goes to show you how like that Celebration Tour is loaded with details, and probably for a long time will still be like, oh wait, like I didn't ever recognize that those two things are connected, whatever the things might be that we'll end up finding little Easter eggs along the way.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, from the screens to the stairs, there's all these foundational show elements that you see them here for the first time. It was fun in the rewatch to be like, oh.
Mm-hmm.
Jason, tell us why this is your Roman Empire. Why is this your your God moment of Madonna?
Well, I think it's similar to probably what a lot of people experience. I did want to go to the Virgin tour. She came to Toronto, and my parents wouldn't let me go.
Oh,
I did go to Who's That Girl, but I really wanted to go to this, and it's because my parents just thought I was too young to see this. And this moment. I mean, this to me is just pure coded Madonna. It's her, almost like it's like her early masterpiece area. It's like a golden age of Madonna because you do see all of the messaging when you look back and when you look at it, and there are elements, of course, and I'm sure a lot of people know this, in the Virgin Tour, the home video, the VHS or whatever, the video version, there are 3 songs that are missing from the set list: Angel, Borderline, and Burning Up. And some of the messaging that I really liked about it was, and it is in the VHS, but the balloons fall down during Angel, and it
Oh,
says dream come true, or dreams come true.
yeah.
And at the beginning, if you listen to any of the just like the bootleg versions of the tour, just the audio, at the beginning of the show, she's just like, it's gonna before Dress You Up comes out, and she's just like, it's gonna be okay, it's gonna be all right. And she's just always been this voice of optimism, and she's got messaging coming out already in 1985. I also think it's really cool because she has, the crucifixes, and she hasn't reached the point yet where she's talking about Catholicism and religion, but she is working with that whole virgin whore complex thing. And I think
hmm
that you have to remember, like, all of the fans were pretty young at the time. Like, they were like 8-year-olds going to the show, and like young teens. And I'll get into this a little bit later, but she did some really overtly sexual stuff in this show that I think gets lost a little bit in in the video of the Virgin Tour, because a lot of it got cut out, and there's a lot of bootleg versions of the show that she says stuff. You're like, whoa, that is super aggressive. So I just think it's just like early kind of, it's the most pure version of Madonna. And to think that she went from playing small clubs to this is wild in my mind. And just the momentum going with it, I think is super cool. And you feel it. I think it's an amazing moment in her history.
and thank you for that, Jason. That was amazing. Liberty, what do you think about this? Do you agree that this is like a peak of what the behemoth Madonna that was to come?
I think it was the warning sign of what was to come. Yeah. I mean, I think that there's like, first of all, I don't think like if you could like encapsulate or sort of bottle the energy that this show is, and like give it to people, they would just live forever, because it is so high energy. I can't even imagine not only how many calories she was burning in each show, but just how did she do that? And on top of probably like a workout at some point during the day, but prior to, or a warm up of some sort that was high energy. As I just rewatched it before we got on, and I was just like, it's no wonder I was so like attracted to her, because I think I wanted to be that high energy too, and just to the go aspect. I have an audio bootleg somewhere. I haven't listened to it in a long time, but I'm going to actually re-listen for the things that Jason says, because I'm really surprised, because it is very vanilla, the version that's on video. I mean,
Sure.
there are some little hints and things like that, and the sweetsiness of the whole homecoming aspect of the VHS part of the show. There is something really weird that I just caught on the version that I just rewatched, and it's on YouTube. There's this whole weird laugh track thing that happens at the end.
I love that. I
For real, because
love
it's
that.
so creepy if you're not watching it, because it is like is horror movie worthy, like. But yeah, I don't know. My favorite. I mean, maybe we'll talk about this. I don't know if we're going to talk about like favorite moments, but as obviously is Gambler, and I think at the time I didn't see the show live. I was also too young. I did know who she was, but I wouldn't have known anything about a tour, because growing up on the border of South Texas, there was no shows coming anywhere near besides Houston. That would have been the closest. Austin, I guess the Virgin Tour was at, but I would never have known. Gambler flew right over my head. I didn't even know that song existed till like 90s, probably late 90s. And it's just so good. Like the dancing is so just go, go, go. And I just would, yeah, I would love to just be her at that time and to feel that as an audience member, to feel the power that energy is giving the whole time, and how she would remember every single dance move. And yeah, I don't know, just and then to be her, to give like that level.
She said in an interview, sorry, really quickly, just to go with what Liberty's saying, she said in an interview in that time that she knew that she needed to open with Dress You Up. She wanted to close with Material Girl, and she felt that Gambler was the high energy moment of the show. So she was just saying those were the 3 key points to her for the show.
Yeah.
Right. Which
And
is
you can tell.
typical Madonna, already figuring things out. Placing things for having moments. And Ben, what did you think about? Are you a big Virgin Tour fan, or is this too simple Madonna for you?
Oh no, I think I was aware of everything that was cut out of, because I had friends who actually came here to Cincinnati to see it, and of course I wasn't allowed to go because my mother thought Madonna was the devil incarnate. But I was aware of the tour. I followed it. My friends from school that got to come here and see it all loved it. And so, of course, I had to pay somebody, oh my God, I think I paid her like $25 to buy me a copy of the VHS at Kmart when it came out. So I got to watch it. And to me, it's just like, I love it because it's probably the only Madonna tour that's all hits. Like, it's all hits. Even Over and Over, I mean, obviously wasn't like a chart hit, but like that was getting played on the radio when this tour was happening. So I appreciate it that it's all hits, and that she sings her butt off and
Hell
sweats
yeah.
like a crazy person, and it's so energetic. I love the basic 5 moves of the choreo that she does through the whole show. I'm like, that's right. You sell those vocals and you sell those songs and all that merch, and just get up there and do your little shuffle kicks. Now, obviously, there was some more choreo. Like my 2 favorite parts though are Into the Groove. Oh, when she gets the tambourine out, and then there's that break, and they do some actual choreo, and she jumps really high in the air at one point. I'm just
kick.
like, look at that,
Yeah.
the kick. And then Gambler, I'm like Liberty. Like, that number is so hot. Like. I mean, I was 10, but I guess I would have been 11 by the time the VHS. And I saw that, and that made me question what I thought I already knew about myself. I was like, oh, yeah, just hot.
Yeah, because
hot,
like there's
just
like a hump
hot.
moment in Gambler,
Oh,
like
when she gets down on her knees and she's like, and the guitars are going, you're just like, sex. That's all you
Yeah,
can think about
exactly.
is sex. Like, yeah, I'm into it.
Yeah, I think this was my introduction to Madonna, seeing this, tour film. I was obsessed with this tour, even though I had never. I mean, I knew of Madonna before, because prior to this, like, obviously Material Girl and Like a Virgin were just as ubiquitous as like Billie Jean and, like Michael Jackson's, Thriller and Beat It. Like, they were everywhere. So yes, it, like, even if you didn't know who it was still in your consciousness. And I think this was sort of like those 2 worlds colliding, where it's like I suddenly was now able to put a face to a voice, and I didn't realize what I was missing as a young kid. And yeah, there was just so many things I was mesmerized by her presence. Like, it was almost as if like her coming down those stairs and looking at everybody, she was hypnotizing us into like the Madonna cult. It's like, yep, okay, I'm on board. I'm sorry, like 40 years later, I still love it. And I mean, I wasn't familiar with some of the less prominent tracks. So like, I know you're going to hate me for this, but like Gambler, I tuned out. Like, I was just like, I
just gay gasped.
I now appreciate it. But yeah, I mean, like, I guess favorite moment, dress you up, and I think into the groove.
Yeah.
Just because the tambourines, like I was obsessed with her tambourine choreography and just how she's like bobbing her head back and forth and she's smiling and like having a blast. And even if she's phoning in that smile and she was phoning it in so authentically, you just believe it. And she just looks like she's having a great time. And I love the choreography. I think what I love about the choreography in this is that it's very 80s coded, but also very classic dance as well. Like there's some like really beautiful, poetic, almost ballet type moves that she does with herself. And as a classically trained dancer, from Martha Graham, I love that she interweaves that. So it's very current 80s style, but then also like almost like not modern dance, but like contemporary dance moves being weaved into it, which I don't know if people were doing at that time.
I mean, you have to think about this, right? Like, so couple of things to that. How many female pop singers were doing this at this time? Like actually this to the point. I mean, Madonna is an incredible, I don't have to say this, she's an incredible dancer, but from a trained perspective, she's really strong and she's an excellent dancer. But I mean, so you have this kind of classic 80s jazz dance that and then she makes her version of it, which she continues to do still today. These little like Ben said, like these little shuffle steps. But that's so Madonna. Like that's just she owns it. And I think the other thing that we're not really talking about, which I think is incredible, when she sits down to sing Crazy for You, and I will also say, even throughout the entire show, this woman actually does not miss a single note. Like she hits every single thing. Like there's nothing flat here at all. And again, on these bootleg versions, so just live versions that have been recorded, she is not missing a single note. It's really incredible. And the amount of dancing that she's doing on this is wild. I will say from a dance perspective, the other thing that I really liked that kind of leads from Gambler into it is the whole over and over. But it's a very 60s vibe, which I think is really cool for that era as well, because she's sort of bringing in probably the era that she grew up in that she liked. But again, such a new version of herself that she doesn't really tap into too often. The fringe on the dress, the dance moves over and over. She had a peace sign, there's peace signs everywhere. I think that was pretty cool. And I was talking earlier about kind of some of the sexual stuff that she did that didn't really make it onto the VHS. Or sorry, I keep saying VHS because that's what it was for me. But for the video was that during Burning Up, she walks up to the steps at the top of the steps, and you can see this. You can go on YouTube and see like they have footage of this, like I think in like Texas or something, and she literally is giving head to the guitarist at the end. Like it's literally she has her face in his crotch. They cut that out. And some of the other stuff that and it's like very visible. And some of the other stuff that she says before everybody, she said this in a couple of cities. She goes, every lady has a box. She's talking about her ghetto blaster. And she's like, she says, but my box is different. And she goes, because mine plays music. And she like moans for like uncomfortably long periods of time. All this stuff did not make it into the tour version that we've seen in Detroit. But yeah, so I think it's really more cutting edge than we think. I think the dancing's on point and her vocals are wildly perfect.
Yeah, I noticed when Ben and I were talking about this before we went on the air, was like, you wonder if the omission of those 3 songs was one, material, because they wanted to cut maybe some of the quote unquote racier sections of her show to make it more available and acceptable to the younger audience who was going to those tours. I love the crowd shots because you can see it's like little girls with their moms, and I love that dichotomy of the different ages and how it was affecting, like, moms thought it was cool, little girls thought it was cool. Like it was a very accessible Madonna at that time. But then you also wonder if they needed to come in under an hour for the show. So that way they wouldn't have, back then VHS, it was 60 minutes, 120 minutes. And you wonder if they just didn't want to have to bother shipping a 2-hour videotape for something that wouldn't be even an hour and a half.
I think the only thing so I thought about this, like why they cut those 3 songs, and for sure it could have been like some innuendos, but I also thought like maybe like Angel, when you sort of watch like versions, she just kind of like sits, walks, doesn't do much. Borderline, she's not doing too much. But what you do hear when she's performing Borderline is like the crowd goes wild because it was like one of her biggest hits leading up to this tour. So for that one to get cut seemed a little strange to me. But both Borderline and Angel, there's not much going on in terms of anything racy or a lot of choreography. She's just really just singing the songs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as far as the production of the tour film, I mean, I was watching the credits and I maybe I knew this before and I forgot, but like Jan de Bont, I think I messaged all of you. Jan de Bont did the cinematography. He was the director of photography for the tour film. And I was like, oh my God, well, no wonder it looks amazing. So Jan de Bont, if you didn't know, was the director of the movie Speed. He also worked with Paul Verhoeven on Basic Instinct. He was the director of photography for Basic Instinct in a myriad of movies, and he directed a bunch of movies as well. And it's like, so this is the talent, the level of talent that she had for her first tour film. She's working with who would be a huge Hollywood director, cinematographer. And I was like, I think maybe now, like when I see some of her tour films come out now, I think that's what I go back to is like, I want sort of the simplicity and the beauty that we were served up for this because the lighting's beautiful. I mean, it's very reminiscent of what Susan Seidelman was doing for her in Desperately Seeking Susan with the purples and the blues and the greens. Like the color palette is really beautiful. It's also really simple, but not, like it's simple in terms of what she's doing now, her staging. We can talk about the staging and the production element of it. Like there's beautiful moments and the lighting is just like, it's a classic tour, but Madonna's amped it up a little bit. Then what do you think about the production of the show?
Oh, I mean, to me, you can tell this is where Freddie Demand has come into the picture. I mean, that was my follow through on like Jan de Bont and these other people is that he provided her access. Also, wasn't she dating Sean by the time she put the tour together? So she's full on Hollywood and they can make these calls and get the quality people, especially when you've got an album that's selling like when the tour started, it sold like 6 million copies by that point. Like it was super huge. So, she likes the best. So I thought the production was great. I love that stage, 2 different parts. So the center staircase comes back in both Who's That Girl and Blonde Ambition. And then that walkway around also shows up again in Blonde Ambition during Material Girl and the Cherish section. So that was kind of fun to see that those elements, again, foundational elements of her tours and the way she thinks about her performance space have been revisited many times since. So, but I love the lighting. Like it's very classic Hollywood staging lighting. Like bring that back. Enough of this digital foolery. I can only imagine, oh my God, what kind of AI stuff she's going to do. Oh God. Oh, I shouldn't have let that thought escape my mind. I'm going to go to bed now. Bye.
Well, it's the cold medicine.
It is.
Let's talk for a moment about the fact, because I think this was, again, one of the stark contrasts between the tour that we just saw from Madonna with Celebration and seeing this was the live instrumentation. And
oh my God, yeah.
I mean, although I admire that we now hear more true to album sound with what performers are putting out because they're just playing the album versions of those songs via tape or digital, whatever it is. There was a band. There's a full band of people, and I gotta say, some of those versions just slapped so good.
God, the arrangements are incredible, and then some of this like the ad lib or the different versions of the vocals that she does to the recorded versions are just so glorious. Which obviously I love when she gives us something creatively new on something we've heard 100 times, but I just love when it feels so close to the original, and a live band helps that happen. A lot of the time also on like on live tours, and I miss that a lot because it's always, obviously there's always so much happening in a Madonna show. And oftentimes, you know, you don't know where to look. And me, of course, I'm always looking at like, well, what's when Monty was with her, or what's Monty doing, or what are the background singers doing, and how do they feel? I have always put myself in the head of the musicians because I think there has to be so much pressure to make sure that you do exactly what you're supposed to do at the right time, and give it, you know, hit that hi-hat when you're meant to, and all those things. But the arrangements
because you know,
here,
if they don't, they're getting notes after that show.
oh yeah. Yeah, and the arrangements are incredible. But again, is this tribute to like a Patrick Leonard you know, being involved? And yeah, I don't know, the drummer is outrageous in this
Oh, he's
show.
so
Like,
good.
yeah.
He's so good.
I think it's fun to watch the band during this because she's the conductor, you know, like it's
Truly.
amazing how much responsibility, like she makes it look so effortless and so flawless. But not only is she singing and dancing and riling up the crowd, but she's got the band watching her so that way she can cue certain things. And like it's the rapt attention that I love. It just goes to show how much work is involved in putting something like that on with a band, and how much of a one unit they were in that show. I mean, just like what you were saying, Liberty, how she sort of diverges from certain things. And I mean, I always loved that in Dress You Up, where you like at the very end where it's like, gonna dress you up in my love, gonna dress you up in my love, because you're my precious toy. Yeah, because you're my pride and joy. And then you hear the drum, pump. Like they're just like, I love the punctuation of the live element of it so much.
And over is so special too. Like there's oh, it's just so great. I love her. You know, that's again though, as at the age that she was, think about the level of professionality and just how exacting she had to be every single time. Like this is not, you know, even though this is her first tour, how freaking like she looks like she's been doing it for 100 years. Like it's mind blowing to me. She was born to do that thing. And I had to think also in the rewatch just now, you know, these songs, obviously a lot of them are her melodies and her like craftsmanship. She had to be thinking like, I did this. Like that just came out of nowhere. It just lived in me and I didn't know I had it until, you know, it just happened. And she's making music suddenly, and then bam, she's on a stage and everybody's excited and they're dressed like her. I mean, that's so much power, and yet she doesn't look like it's, except for a few moments in the video where you could see she's kind of bowled over with emotion. She doesn't look like this is phasing her one bit. That's mind blowing to me.
There's a couple of things to add to that also, is just you have to think she went from, again, I've said it before, she went from CBGB's, the Mud Club, literally to this. And also a key thing to note is that this tour starts off in theaters a la Madame X. And halfway through the tour, not even halfway, I think like 4 or 5 shows in, you see that it switches to stadiums. And that is because they noticed that there was so much, I mean, this is all documented stuff. I'm not making this up. This is all stuff that they were saying, like the tickets were going crazy. People wanted to see her more. And I think I remember reading that like the Radio City show sold out in record time at that time. Mm-hmm. So, you know, she was gaining momentum in a wild way. And I think one of the musicians did say that she was a little scared when she first realized what was happening. And I think when she first went out, she was saying, like, he was trying to calm her down. I think one of the other things to note as well, we were talking about the musicians, I think this might have been a time in her life where she was actually really collaborating, even though she was fully in charge. I think she let the musicians be the musicians. And I think now we see, and I love her stuff that she does now, so I'm not saying anything negative, but I feel like she is such a conductor now that she really does manage every single detail. So we're really getting her vision today. I think what the musicianship was back then was a real collaboration, and
Yeah.
and it was coming through her. Like, this is truly her, but she was allowing people to do what they do well.
Mhm.
That's my take on, and also you hear it also in Who's That Girl tour as well. Like
Yeah.
the musicality is just so good for the. I mean, listen, it keeps going. I get that, but just these first two tours are so. It's also very close to the original versions,
Yeah.
but she just expands on them, which I think makes it so beautiful.
I have a question, Jason. You might know the answer to this. I kept I kept getting distracted when it would get to the credits because, like Liberty, that weird laughing skit, I was just like, this is funny, but also I don't want to watch it. Was she the only woman on stage? Were everybody, all the other personnel, it was all men, right? So it was like
Yeah,
Mhm.
her and her brothers out on
yeah,
tour, kind of.
yeah,
Mhm.
I
yeah.
thought that
It's
was
sad.
interesting.
It almost sounds, I guess, like I actually, the one thing I don't know are if the backup dancers were actually singing. It sounds probably just like a backtrack, like it's like
It
her
did,
audio.
yeah, yeah.
But I mean, I think it's possible. Like, it looks like, because they're holding mics, so they're singing. Like, it looks like they're singing, but I don't know if it's actually happening. But yeah, no, I think it's all guys on this. One cute little note though that I wanted to say was that Debbie Mazar did the hair and makeup for this tour,
Yeah.
and it is interesting to me because I feel like, again, probably about 4 or 5 shows in, she went from having long hair to cutting these micro bangs that you see
Yes.
in the Detroit version. And I was just like, I'm thinking, could you imagine being on tour? You're getting all this momentum, and halfway through, you're gonna cut bangs. Like, I think that's crazy. So my only thinking as a hairstylist is that maybe her hair kept like getting in her way, so she needed something to get it off of her face. So she probably looked at Debbie and she just like, cut bangs. So
Yeah, I thought that was a strange transition too, because it's like you can see so many pictures of her with it pulled up, like Liberty. Like it's like this updo, and it's like so full. But yeah, I bet you. I mean, look, we all know what happened with Goth Donna. She had that swoop of Goth Donna, and then she was out dancing, and next thing you know, she ends up, because her hair it was wet and saturated from sweating. She got tired, so she just put it up in a towel. And I bet you the same type of thing was happening. She was probably just sweating so much by midway through the show. She's like, it was wrecking the hairstyle, and so she just found this easier to manage.
Yeah,
Maybe.
but that's interesting if you consider like however many years, 25 years later or whatever. I'm sorry, I cannot do math, but in Reinvention Tour, she's got all this long hair, and it is sort of, I mean, there were times if you were close enough, you were going to get like swatted with sweat because it's flying right off of her in moments like Get Into the Groove. And I think that, look, again, and you know this as a hairstylist, women cut bangs when things are changing.
it's true. That's true
So,
too.
Who knows
No,
exactly?
you're totally right.
But well, look, and then again, the subsequent tour, she's super short. I mean, and obviously that's all part of the whole persona, visual reinvention. But I think sometimes she was going for and then in what was that girly show, totally pixie, tiny short. It might have had to do with, like it's getting in my face, it's sweaty, it's all over the place. Cue, again, Reinvention Tour later, it's like, it's just a big sopping mess, but beautiful at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
That reinvention
oftentimes,
hair
like-
hit me in the face once and it felt good.
Yeah, I bet.
Glorious.
It did. I didn't wash my face for 2 days.
Let's talk for a minute about the wannabes. So part of that, the part of the magic of this era is the fact that so many people wanted to look and dress just like Madonna, to the point where Macy's had its own Madonna line. It sold out multiple times. They had to keep restocking it. Apparently the merchandise for the tour was selling out prior to people even seeing the show. Jason's wearing some of that merch. Is that, Jason? Is that a small that you're wearing?
It's a medium.
Oh,
It's a medium for a girl in 1985, so it's not that.
I was gonna say, I'm like, it's just like I only find like smalls and mediums online.
That's
and
true.
like, I can't
That's
fit
so
in
true.
those. Like I would like, and not because I'm like buff like you, Jason, but just like I can't fit it over it'd be like a crop top, and nobody wants to see that. But Yeah, I just love that. Like, if you watch that version of the tour film where they're interviewing all the girls, or like some of the news footage from around that era where like they're interviewing the girls, and like they're just so in love with her and what she's doing. And I think, to me, that's so endearing to know that she was speaking to these women and empowering them even at such a young age, like everyone's been saying, we're echoing those comments of how profound she was being without even being preachy, like people were just resonating with her energy and her message, even without her hitting us over the head with it.
Yeah, but I mean, this is sort of, first of all, it's got to have been so bizarre to like look out the window and go, holy crap, or look out into the sea of people in front of you and go, this is really uncanny. Like everybody is looking just like me. And when she looked kind of strange, probably on the streets just maybe 2 years, 3 years before, or, had a sort of unusual style before. And now it's like, that's just what she looks like. And then everybody wants to look like that too. And it influenced fashion for like 2 or 3 years. Like everything that was sold, even at JCPenney or Sears or whatever, for us little girls looked like that. It has, little like skirts with leggings attached, and trinket necklaces. If it wasn't a rosary, it was, necklaces with a bunch of stuff all over it, and rubber bracelets were such a big deal. And I mean, and the color palette, the same thing. A lot of like the fluorescent or the purples and those feminine elements, but also she's just who she is. I think that had to probably be unsettling in a little bit of a way, like
unsettling until she got the paycheck for the merch.
Yeah, no doubt.
Like,
yeah,
she's
no
probably
doubt.
like, oh, this is kind of weird, but look how much money I'm making.
Yeah. So she's probably
And
like,
then, and I think that's what I love about the bookends for the tour film is, so here she is doing this tour, dependent on the look that she's selling to all these people, and then what does she do? She changes up her look.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously
totally
she's
lets it
filming,
go.
she's working on the film for Shanghai Surprise by the time she's like filming the bookends, but like all of a sudden it's this completely different Madonna. So it's kind of funny how by the time she's putting this tour film out, she's already washed her hands with the look, and she's like, okay, moving on.
Well, she'd gone through two, right? She did Shanghai Surprise, and then she had the brunette hair for Live Aid. Or were those switched?
Well, Live Aid was
85, but I guess you're right, because
so
like,
was
when
this
did they
tour.
film? Yeah. Live Aid must have been right after the Virgin tour, though, because she did the exact same like performances. No, I don't know.
Hold on, I'm gonna look it up.
No, Live Aid. She did.
It was July 13th, 1985.
So
So
right
she had
after.
the dark hair. Then
Right
she
after.
went platinum for
maybe she had to do a fill, like to fill in some of the
But
blonde.
let's
Yep.
remember, other than the fact that Madonna does like to take her time releasing tour
Oh my God,
films,
I have to
because Ben's going to have one of his violent sneezes.
He's on mute.
It was so
Dad.
violent, ladies and gentlemen, and theys thems, that Ben's shirt actually flew off because it was so violent. For those not watching, you've missed it. You've missed the show. He's now Tata's appropriate. Oh, he's leaving. Ben's done
He's
with us
gone.
now.
He flew up into the stratosphere. That was a very powerful sneeze. Ladies and gentlemen, you have seen it here.
Yeah. Well, but so like I think with like the tour film, like obviously back then films didn't come out right away. I mean, it took forever for stuff to hit video. And so I don't think it came out until like the 86, fall of, like, I think it was like fall of, people are going to crucify me if I get the dates wrong. So I'm just going to say, I don't remember seeing it until I was in 1986. That's my thing. And I'm sticking to it.
Hold on, keep talking. I'm going to look it up.
Look it up. Look it up.
I'm sure she also, so talking about the wannabes, I feel as though it's funny. It's like if you do ever see those news clippings of them, of all of us, that they're like, we love her because this is who I am. And it's just like, yeah, but you're emulating somebody else. So how is that you? And like their 8-year-old girl saying, this is exactly who I am. It's so funny. So imagine, to your point, Liberty, I feel as though she probably was like, it must have been so crazy to see people dressing just like you, no wonder she chopped off all her hair and went platinum
Yeah.
blonde. Even, Shanghai Surprise, I get that, but like just completely changing her look because she probably just wanted to like shed that. And, that was the beginning of quote unquote this reinvention, right? It was just
And
probably
how after that, everything she did informed what people did and wore
like,
for the rest of time. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't even know if she's that like I think we always think she's so strategic and so, at least I do think that she's so like thoughtful and planned. I think she literally is just being her and
yeah.
kind of just being like, okay, I don't feel like doing this anymore. Like I actually think that's probably what it is. And she's probably just already such a natural kind of rebel that it just comes across so, calculated. But I think she's probably just being her to the fullest
Well,
extent.
I mean, obviously,
Absolutely.
the blonde goddess that she is in the bookends for the tour film, she couldn't be the Madonna from 1985 in Shanghai Surprise. So if there's anything that's calculated, it's I want to get this role, so I need people to believe that I can do this,
Yeah.
Oh,
and so she changes it.
I have the scoop on that. So the VHS came out November 13th of 1985. And I
Wow.
thought that's when it came out because I remember it was around Christmas time when we were all trying to bootleg copies because I would have been in the 6th grade. So guess who directed that platinum blonde segment with that debuted the new hair before the movie? James Foley.
Oh
Foley,
yes, yeah.
yes,
Oh my God, I
yes.
totally forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, so that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun that she like already is like building the world of people that she's working with. Like Patrick Leonard is the musical director.
Barry Lambert.
Paul
Jim
Pesco,
Foley.
as
Yeah.
on guitar, is a part of her world for a while. Jan de Bont, who then works with James Foley as it's just there's so many like spins and twists and collaborators and.
So a friend pointed out to me that Love Makes the World Go Round was written during the Virgin tour, like meaning like as they were on tour, they were working on that.
Which is why we then got that for
Live Aid.
Live Aid. Yep. I ain't taking shit off today.
Okay.
That's for another show. Ben, what have we missed in the chat? Anything? Any questions? Any comments?
Wait, let me go back.
Ben, while you look, we'll do a. Did we do a favorite thing about
We
Virgin
didn't.
Tour? I mean,
Well, the chat has basically been everybody claiming their favorites, which by and large have been Dress You Up, Into the Groove, and Gambler, with a few votes for others. And then people were talking about the Live Aid thing. And then everybody was like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, I'm sick. And now I'm getting recommendations for what I should take. And then just talking about the looks and the fashion and the lighting. But yeah, we haven't set our favorites yet. I polled the audience about it way back when, and it's been a lot of Into the Groove and Dress You Up. So
well, that's mine. And so we can. Jason, what's your favorite moment in the? I mean, didn't you all say it was Gambler?
Oh, Gambler is
Yeah.
Me and Liberty.
I think listen, I of course I love Into the Groove, Love Holiday, all that stuff, but I think Over and Over is really special. Like
Yeah.
it's a side of Madonna that we just have never saw again. And it was a version of the song that was just really good, and the dancing is amazing, and I don't know, it's cool. And it's again that messaging, right? Like such a smart businesswoman. I know that's not how she leads, but like just the messaging of I'm gonna get up again over and over, I'm gonna do what it takes. Like it's just, I don't know, as a young kid, I took that and I still use that today to like get me through stuff. So I think from a Madonna perspective, I think that's such a great moment in the show.
I love the Madonna money that she throws out
Oh,
during
yeah.
Material Girl, and I love that, like Jason was saying earlier, where she's so coded in terms of like the specific moments of Madonna that we get throughout her career is part of this show. Because when she sings Material Girl, it's very ditzy, Nikki Finn-esque. It's silly. It's her being cheeky and like, so through this whole show, she's very like current and very like specific in terms of like, this is 80s Madonna. I'm current. I'm on the pulse. But then she switches that persona up a little bit for that encore. And I love that. she has, for the tour film, she has her dad come out and yank her off stage. And then, I'm not leaving without my fur. And she goes back and crawls, very express yourself to the fur, and then leaves. It's a fun Madonna. She's young and vibrant and beautiful. Her vocals sound so good
Every
on
second.
the show. Like I love, even though she's not trained, quote unquote, trained
Right.
vocally at this point in time, I just, that's, to me, that was like the Madonna I fell in love with. And
It's stellar pop. It's just so good. And that's,
Yeah.
again, that's, I would say Over and Over is probably a close second for me for Gambler. It's just because how powerful her voice is. And yeah, the messaging for sure. Cause Gambler is so like, come on,
You're just jealous because you can't
fight
beat me.
Like, I don't know. There's something so aggressive and hot about Gambler. But
Sex.
but the wonderful thing
Sex.
about Over and Over is that it is so inspiring, and it is just so and it's what little girls at that time really needed to hear, because there's such a like unstoppable feel about it. And you can do anything that you want in this life. You can be powerful, you can be rich, you could be beautiful, you can be sexy, you can also be intelligent, and you can also be a business person, and you can also be playful. All of those things are just in that visual. And her vocal is incredible. Like I couldn't get over how good she sounds when I re-listened just now, because I'm like, what in the heck? Like, this girl had no actual train. There's no way I could dance like that for that long and sing at the same time.
Well, and now I'm assuming we'd be remiss if we didn't cover off the fact that obviously they did do some pickups for that tour film, because there was no camera on stage, and in that tour film there is a close up coming down the stage with her. So I'm like, oh, it's just like the Madam X pickups where she like went back in and refilmed some stuff. And like she was doing that even back then, but it's so seamlessly integrated into that film that you don't even notice.
But Liberty, go to listen to your bootleg versions of the audio when there's no editing. It's still seamless. It's pretty spectacular. I think the one thing I really feel about this tour, I actually think we're and it's a great pop concert, but I think there's elements of this that is showing real depth. You were talking a little bit about the Material Girl part. To me, that was such a political moment about, it was Reagan era, and she was really just saying, as a female, I'm also, and she makes fun of the money. What does she say? Do you think I'm a material girl? She's like, well, you are wrong. And I remember that really sticking out, like that irony.
I don't want it. And she starts getting rid of everything.
The root of all evil.
But I feel as though, like, one thing that we didn't talk about, which I think is actually shows the depth of her, even not even back then, but like really shows her depth starting back then, was that she chose to have the Beastie Boys being her opening act, which is the wildest thing ever, because little girls were crying when they came out. They were just like, they had signs up saying, "We hate you," or something along those lines. Like, they really and apparently the manager, that must have been Freddie DeMann, wanted them off, but Madonna, she chose them. And the thing that's always been about Madonna, amazing about Madonna, is that she doesn't listen to the music that I think necessarily we always listen to. Like, we like her type of music. I'm speaking for myself, but just she has a more of a unique approach to music, and then she ends up educating us about a world that maybe we haven't been exposed to at that time. Hence, I'm kind of getting back to the Beastie Boys, but even then, there's this layer that did not make sense to everybody else, but Madonna knew that the Beastie Boys was who she wanted to open the tour. I'm just saying, like, the levels of depth of artistry that she's had, even from here, it's a pop concert, but there's all this stuff underneath that's just so wildly, there's political, there's sexuality, there's great performance, there's throwbacks to the 60s. There's just so much here that I think is, if you just look on the surface, you'll see the dancing and the singing, but there's a lot here to this version. That's why I like this show so much.
Yeah, well said. Jason, is there anything else you need? I know, because we're about to wrap up our show, but is there anything that we haven't said about this moment that you need to say? No.
We covered it all.
Ben, Liberty, anything else you need to get off your chesties about the Virgin tour?
Yeah.
That's all I have to say.
Yeah, I mean, it's every girl's, well, not every girl, but my dream at the time was to be just like that, just like she was. And in my bedroom, when the door would close or when my cousins would come over, we were doing those moves. We were, I would make them do all the choreo that, okay, but no, you have to start here and you have to like land on this number and 1, 2, 3. No, start again. It just taught me a lot about my own identity, which she continued to do every show, every tour thereafter.
I still love to do that air guitar moment from Dress You Up. I mean, it's just so good. Look, just anything, just Dress You Up. I like, I can listen to that over and over and over again. Her eye makeup is flawless. It's just so many fantastic things are going on in that. I can't get enough. But yeah, tambourine. Get me. I think
we should all take up the tambourine.
I still think that when Madonna teased that tambourine picture when she was doing Celebration tour rehearsals, I was like, yes, please tell me she's bringing the tambourine moment back. And she didn't. And I think that was probably one of the biggest misses for tambourine, is that we didn't get a tambourine Madonna moment. But maybe it's coming. Maybe she'll do another tour with this Confessions on a Dance Floor sequel.
Well,
if you're listening, Madonna, bring back the tambourine. We'd love that.
But she committed to no live instruments, so the tambourine was just one bridge tune.
There was a piano. She had.
That's true.
There was David was playing
guitars.
All of her kids were playing instruments. So
that's true. She did it so hard she broke the tambourine before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even if it's canned track, she could still do the tambourine along with it.
Yeah.
Gives her something to do.
You think she could still throw a tambourine up?
Oh my God, I love that. I was like,
and then kick her foot up.
Yeah, like there was some. That was like the precursor to the fan flip during the 1990 Vogue performance. I was like,
somebody in the chat just said guitars replace the tambourine, and I want to cry a little bit.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, right, because she plays. Yeah. Well, I vote
tambourine back.
I vote for tambourine back. Yeah.
Me too.
Well, everybody, thanks for taking this little journey back into 1985. I suggest you go watch the Virgin Tour film online. It's on YouTube. That's how I watched it, or download it, or however you want to watch it. Just watch it. It's good. It's worth it. It's worth a repeat watch over and over, over and over and over and over. And remember, everybody, you can find us on all social platforms at MLVC Podcast. If you'd like to donate to the show, we're on Venmo to MLVC Podcast. Let's click that like button on YouTube and just donate via Super Thanks. If you've not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, take that button so you never miss a video. Yeah, until next time, I'm not leaving without my fur. Jason, thanks for joining us. And Ben, hope you feel better.
I'm getting there.
You just need some...
I'm not. Someone put some weird concoction in the chat, though. I would just like to announce that I will not be trying.
Just a little hot toddy and then some bed,
That's
I have
right.
not been having any alcohol at all.
Grandpa's old cough medicine.
Yeah, well, a shot of moonshine would be nice. That's what we used to keep under the cupboard on the farm.
That sounds like it'll knock you out till Tuesday.
It used to.
All right, well, bye everybody. We'll talk to you later.
Bye, you guys.
I had a big dream and I got a cold.